Hello guys, it's Rainbow Runner once again, and it's that time of year again. Here we are on New Year's Eve of 2023, and yeah, obviously people are already shooting out fireworks, but yeah, New Year's Eve of 2023, and as per usual, I want to kind of review and reflect on how the year has been and all that stuff. And I mean, there were plenty of noteworthy things going on in 2023. So January, of course, well, I mean, I guess a lot of the year and stuff, I did, of course, try to make rail fanning videos and everything when I can. But there are also, of course, plenty of moments that happened, in between. January, I did have a visit from my cousin from Utah right at the beginning of the month, and so then February, well, I guess January, I also began my spring semester at Chandler Gilbert. February officially marked 1 year since I finished my service mission, and it did have a few notable things. The Super Bowl was held here at State Farm Stadium, and then I went and saw the Phoenix Symphony perform John Williams' music, and then there was the Hoenn Tour event going on in Pokemon Go, and I did upload that brief video. Zoinks, it's the gay Blade, from Scooby-Doo. Again, I don't know how that of all things became a meme, but... And then March, I had a week off in the middle of March for my schooling, and at CGCC, I did, of course, make more videos then. I showed off my Mario cosplay in anticipation for the Mario movie. And then I actually went up to Payson and back on during that week off, because my dad and my Aunt Tina from Utah, they've both been working hard to finish cleaning out the house where my grandfather and my great uncle once lived. A lot of work there. And then at the end of March was when it was the end of the Mark and Neanderthal morning show on 100.7 KSLX. Definitely have already been missing Mark, because him and Neanderthal made the morning show very memorable. April was when, of course, the Mario movie came out. I guess also in terms of movies, like in a March, there was Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania in terms of content for the MCU. And I guess also during that era, season 3 of the Mandalorian premiered. And Mando was always pretty good. And then, but yeah, as you would expect, a lot of these months I've just been busy with school, with my college stuff. And I do try to make videos when I can, of course. Probably said that a little bit redundantly, but then at the beginning of May, I actually, in terms of movies, right at the beginning of May, Return of the Jedi was released in theaters for its 40th anniversary. I went to go see that, and I finished my spring semester at CGCC, and I decided to not take any classes during the summer semester just because I wanted to have a little bit of time off, and well, for a reason you probably already know. May was when Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 came out, and it was probably the best hit Disney had this year, all things considered. Kind of a sad reality, but it is true. Guardians was pretty good. And speaking of movies, it was only Mario and Barbie that grossed $1 billion this year. I'm really happy for Mario in particular, for it doing so well. And even though, but aside from that, even though I didn't get to go to Disneyland this year, May, of course, saw the closure of one of the most beloved rides that Disneyland has ever had, Splash Mountain. I mean, it'll be cool to see it be rethemed into Tiana's Bayou Adventures, but I'm already missing those zippity-doo-dah days. I'll never forget the last time I rode Splash Mountain. I made that video like, I rode Splash Mountain in the rain. Yeah, so without wearing a poncho. That would make me tough enough to get into the salty spittoon. Then June was greatly highlighted because I had my first major trip. I did a 6-day road trip with my mom when we went up to Utah and Nevada, coming through Vegas on the way home because I got to see my brother and to UNLV. But the other colleges in Utah were great to visit: BYU, UVU, Ensign College, and Utah Tech and St. George. Plus, of course, the added bonus of being able to visit my family. I've been intrigued by several of the colleges, but I think I've been the most interested in Ensign College. It was formerly known as LDS Business. But visiting all my family and friends up in Utah made that trip a nice getaway, if nothing else. And I've also continued to remain active in my Pioneer YSA ward throughout the year. That June was especially notable because we had a cabin trip up to Forest Lakes, and we did have an event at KTR, which I did end up hurting my ankle a little bit, but it was all good. And then at the end of the month was they had a Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which I think I like the original Into the Spider-Verse better. But then at the very end of the month, that was when Harrison Ford donned his fedora and whip one last time for Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, which John Williams said would probably originally be his final film he would ever compose, but he did reverse the decision because he wants to see how long he can go. He was inspired by Steven Spielberg's father, who lived to 103. So that's the first half of the year. I guess going back to my schooling and stuff, for the spring semester, I took Intro to Business, Computer Information Systems, Accounting 112, which was after I did Accounting 111 in fall of 2022, and then Pre-Calculus, which, even though I typically am a good person with math and stuff, that definitely had its challenge, but alas, I did prevail with a good grade in that. I'm even impressed that I did so. July, of course, it's kind of funny, like June, even though it was pretty mild, July was when the intense summer heat really kicked in, like full time and stuff, for like several days in a row, like 110 plus. Like, it was relentless. But then, we had 4th of July, and then, we also had, the All-Star Game. The All-Star Game, it was really exciting to see the National League winning for the first time since 2012, and kind of cool it was held in Seattle after I was there in October of 2022. And actually, it was also funny, some people in my YSA ward were actually in Seattle around the same time as the All-Star Game. I don't think they went to it, but I think it was still kind of fascinating. Speaking of baseball, of course, that month I went to the D-backs game with my mom and my uncle against the Cardinals. Paul Goldschmidt still knows how to show us a good time. Though it was kind of sucked that we blew that lead and ended up losing that game and stuff. But yeah, more rail fannings. And then August was when I began my fall 2023 semester. But I did, of course, have a couple other things like I went tubing on the Salt River with my YSA ward, and I got to hang out with some friends and other stuff, like namely those who have been going to school lately, especially up at BYU Idaho, because that's where I know a lot of my friends are going right now. More on BYU Idaho soon. But August was also notable because, throughout 2023, I've been quite intrigued by a lot of the movies that have made free to watch on YouTube. But honestly, the one that's been the most significant were the Hunger Games films, because August and September, all 4 of the original films were made free to watch. And I've forgotten how good they really were and stuff. I've yet to see Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes, by the way. So, and I haven't read the book either. So, yeah, I still got a little bit of catching up to do. But yeah, it was quite an interesting road. Speaking of movies, then what is it? September comes along, and Disney, well, I guess Harkins actually did the Disney 100 event, where they showed some of the older Disney movies for that. And I got to rewatch both Incredibles with my mom in September, and also I went with one of my good friends and saw Coco. Great movies, of course. September, of course, I turned 23, and appropriately enough, I turned exactly how old Luke was in Return of the Jedi. So that's when I kind of started rocking my Luke Skywalker cosplay from episode 6. Just quite sentimental. And then at the end, closer to the end of September, I actually got a new phone. This is my 5th phone overall. This is my Google Pixel 7. My previous was my 4A 5G. Oh yeah, actually rewind a little bit to August. August 6th, I officially got my second nephew, Tristan. Yeah, and of course, my sister Melody, her husband Carl, and my first nephew Beckett. They visited a few times this year. But then in October, of course, that was when the baby blessing was held. They came here for it. And my brother Kevin, of course, drove down from Vegas too. But then October was greatly notable because the D-backs made the postseason for the first time since 2017. They had such a rocking postseason overall. Sweeping the Brewers. I had the great pleasure of going to Game 3 of the NLDS to watch us beat LA and knock the Dodgers out as a way to avenge our loss in 2017. And then I watched games going on with several watch parties, like at Oso Brewery in downtown Gilbert, and even at the Tap Room, especially with the D-backs managing to knock the Phillies out of the NLCS and go to the World Series for the first time since 2001. Yeah. Okay, and actually I'll take a quick tangent. October was I did also get to go to Castles and Coasters as an FHE activity for my YSA ward, of course. And then the World Series was, as exciting as it was to see the D-backs in the World Series, their chaos could not take them all the way to a World Series title, unfortunately, just because it was quite astonishing how we blew that first game in Texas. And even though we did have a good win in Game 2, things went downhill from there. It was as frustrating as it was to watch us lose all 3 of our games here. But in the meantime, kudos to the Rangers for getting their first World Series title. And yeah, and I know that my video of me reacting to the final out of the World Series saw lots of views, and I know that there were a lot of Rangers fans who also thanked the D-backs for a good season. And I definitely tried to, be cool about it and take the loss amicably, if you will. I mean, we wouldn't have been able to get that far if we didn't have such spectacular players like Ketel Marte and Zach Gallen and Corbin Carroll and much more. It's also kind of fascinating how Arizona held both the Super Bowl and the World Series in the same year. 2023 was quite interesting in that sense, if you will. But also, of course, during the second half of this year, I did revisit the Lego Star Wars games. I know I made a couple of videos on that. Oh yeah, and I did also make a couple of rail fanning videos down in Maricopa to officially kick off season 5. November was kind of tame. I was very busy with college and stuff. I did make a few videos like around Thanksgiving. I did some early Black Friday shopping. I did have some my friends from Utah come to visit around Thanksgiving. I did see them in Utah as well. And then December, the end of the semester was approaching for Chandler Gilbert. It was also hectic considering I had that trip to Idaho for Kevin's graduation, which really wasn't the best thing to be having to deal with at the same time as final exams. But alas, I did prevail in all my classes. I did the Chandler High School community choir for the third year and stuff, which is something that they allowed alumni like me to do. Wendy Umbriano was really great. I'm taking over for after Lori Lyford ended up retiring. And what else? Oh yeah, I guess in terms of movies, the Marvels came out, and I actually liked it. I think it's one of the better films in terms of a lot of the more recent MCU content. And speaking of which, 2023 was also interesting to note because October 17th was the day that Endgame took place according to the MCU canon, which I thought was really fascinating, and I had to revisit that. And I guess in terms of the classes that I took this semester for fall of 2023, they were managerial accounting, which was actually an 8-week course during the second half of the semester. I took another 8-week course, which was business communication, which I did make a presentation for that, a PowerPoint presentation for that. And that happened during the first half of the semester. And then I had a math analysis for business and macroeconomic principles, the latter of which I actually took at Williams campus rather than Pecos campus. And then of course, Christmas was good to have both my siblings and just people in town. I got some good Christmas presents. I went shooting, like target shooting. Like we went out in the desert, and then I also got to go on the clay pigeon course to shoot some shotguns, and then oh yeah, and I also got to go to Medieval Times for my sister's birthday. I also went to Medieval Times all the way back in 2015, the one in California. Yeah, just some random things. And oh boy, what else do I have to say? Oh yeah, and I did also make that video of having my nephew Beckett choose a starter Pokemon. Yeah, a lot of interesting things to enjoy and stuff. But 2023 was also, we did lose a couple of good people, notably in terms of people I know offhand and stuff. Michael Gambon, who was Dumbledore in the Harry Potter films from Prisoner of Azkaban. All in words, rest in peace, both him and the original Dumbledore, Richard Harris. And then M. Russell Ballard, who was the acting president of the Quorum of the 12 Apostles. And I'm sure there are other celebrities that we've lost in 2023, but those are the two that I particularly know offhand and wanted to acknowledge. But now, I guess I want to mention what will things be like for 2024. While I am excited for some things that I'm sure will be great to experience in 2024, the factors of ambiguity will definitely start kicking in because I have one more semester planned before I am expected to graduate. Of course, majoring in accounting has been great, and I think it's a good career to go into, but more questions will await, like, where will I go after that? I've definitely been intrigued by Ensign College in terms of stuff I would want to, if I want to, resume courses in person, because they offer good tuition rates and all that stuff, but that would also mean I would have to be moving up to Utah to go to school. I mean, granted, I'll have my family and friends close by in Utah, but definitely a lot of things I'll need to figure out. I guess another option I had if I wanted to do online courses is to do BYU Pathways, which is actually what my brother Kevin did. And so I could, if I want to stay here for a little bit more. And And not only that, but more ambiguity stuff will come. Like one of the reasons why I hadn't been overly consistent with videos and stuff, like sometimes I only upload like 1 or 2 rail fanning videos each month. I guess college, of course, is a big factor, but another one is, I guess, since I upgraded to my Pixel 7, I've been unfortunately having to deal with YouTube, or not YouTube, so Google's whole storage limit policies, which they have limited storage space if you back up stuff in original quality. I mean, that's obvious. I mean, that happened even with my Pixel 4a 5G, but if I backed up in Storage Saver, it wouldn't count. However, now it does count with my 7. And even though I do try to find ways to, alleviate that and get around with that, it has been kind of annoying having to deal with that kind of stuff. Because literally, I shouldn't have to pay to keep my memories. Like, it's ridiculous. But I will try to, get videos out if I can. I mean, I can still upload to YouTube just perfectly fine. I mean, no storage limits involved with YouTube at all. All right. So, yeah. I think that's about all I have for 2023. I mean, I may have missed a few things and stuff, but I mean, as you could probably guess, 2023 wasn't the most perfect year ever, but it definitely did deliver with moments that were memorable. And yeah, with my truck now being 30 years old because it's a 93, I guess now 31 in a few days, technically, or actually tomorrow, there I am being redundant again. But yeah, and then Pokemon Go has also been good to play like always. Yeah, I'm almost level 46 in the game. I leveled up to 45 in June, and then so yeah, I should be able to reach 46 right here at the beginning of 2024. All right, well anyways, I just want to thank you guys for supporting me, for enjoying my videos. I know you guys have enjoyed them, and I've enjoyed making them, but only time will tell how things will go in 2024. So I wish for the best, and I know I'll keep praying to my beloved Father in heaven and to Jesus Christ. I know they love me and they love everyone in this world, and I know that I will be able to figure things out and that things in 2024 will be worth living through. And I know that it's also been a good holiday season, of course, being able to celebrate Christmas like always, and a lot more things going. And oh yeah, I did also revisit a Polar Express. Good movie, and I think it's a good example of a Christmas movie that could be really watched at any point of the year. But yeah, the Christmas spirit has been real, and yeah, just wanted to, of course, as per usual, make one last video to cap things off in 2023 as we witness the final sunset. A lot of cloud cover in the west also. But yep, once again, thank you guys so much for watching my videos. And I appreciate all the support, all the good comments, and all the viewers who have come to watch me, not just this year, but over all these years, like even dating back to 2018 when I made my first videos, and then 2019 when I first started making rail fannings in particular. It's been quite a good ride and stuff, but let's hope for good things here in 2024, which will be in about 7 hours. I think it's around 5 o'clock, maybe less than that. All right, well, I think that's about all I have to say for this video. Thank you again, everybody, for watching, and Rainbow Runner will be heading out one last time for 2023. See you in 2024.